So today's episode of Dragging Junk Home, this is what just followed me the other day. This is a 2000 Nissan Frontier with a title and a really good clean frame and a decent set of American Racing 15-inch wheels. 3 pretty good tires. I gotta find one more, but I've got all 4 rims. And it's a junky truck. Dimpled and dented and beat up all over and stinky and dirty, which is exactly what I like in a vehicle, so that I have absolutely no qualms about treating it like the garbage that it is, you know, because it's just a vehicle and you can't take it with you when you leave this earth anyway. But it suits me really well. I had a Frontier in the past. I still have it. It was a 4-cylinder KA24DE, an extra cab 4-wheel drive, and it was the best truck I ever owned in my life in terms of a small vehicle. You know, just not going to pull dozers around, but it was such a good truck. I really loved it, and I got T-boned by someone else who was at fault, who ran a stop sign. So his insurance gave me $5,200. I only paid $2,000 for the truck from my friend. So I bought the truck back for like $800, and I put Toyota rear springs and shackles in it from a parts truck sitting in the yard. And so I fixed the truck, and that gave me the money to say, hey man, you know what? This is a sign. I should make this into a rock crawler. So I bought a set of 1-tons, Chevy 60 front, 14-bolt rear, and I got a set of 42-inch Swampers. And I got to the point where the truck had 2 T cases. I put a Divorce Dana 300 in it, and welded in all this cradle underneath and the skid plates. I had the shifters figured out, and the drive shafts were done. The front and rear were in, and I had already fabricated bumpers and stuff like that. So it was so close. And then I had kids, and then I moved, lost 2 houses, moved across the country, dragged it with me, but it ran out of money, and I just sold pieces off of it. I made like 500% return on the parts that I sold. So, but you know, I basically said, I can't be rock crawling. I can't even pay the heating bill. So I don't need to be playing with kids stuff like this. And so I parted that truck out, but I still have the carcass, and the motor and tranny and transfer case are in it. And this is a V6, which the VG33E, which sucks in my opinion. To get to the spark plugs and injectors, you have to pull the upper intake, or to change a knock sensor, you have to pull the lower intake. And it's just not a reliable motor in my opinion. I love an inline 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder, whether gas or diesel. So I think that's what's going to go in this thing. And my price on it was, to me, nothing. I mean, I put $30 in fuel in the truck to go get it, and went and got it. Dragged it up. I was back home in 2 hours. So no money out of pocket. This will be great because I'll have a 4-wheel drive with a real frame. You know, I thought about getting another Cherokee. I've got several Cherokees, parts vehicles. I've got one sitting elsewhere, but they don't have a frame. There's my former Nissan Frontier. That's a pack of 5-leaf Toyota springs, solid axle swap obviously, and I had built slider boxes, and I had built the front, I don't know if you can see it, but I built the front spring mount, boxed all that framework in. The sliders are on there, and the frame is shortened, and it's got 3-inch wide, I want to say F350 leaves, 2 of them, but I've got more arches just sitting there. And I'd made these shackles, which use a Heim joint, so that the spring won't be bound up, because the shackle will be allowed to swing fore and aft, or to and fro, whichever that is. And a snake lives in this truck, which is good, because if the snake's not there, the mice are. So when the snake is away in the wintertime, the mice are all up in this truck, but the snake keeps the mice down, which would probably be eating my wiring if they had their way. And the other day I went and cautiously opened the hood, and I mean, I know the snake lives in the truck. There's a shed right in there, in between the shifters. You can see his skin. It's a black snake. His name's Mr. Slithers. Actually, here's another one of his sheds right there. So he's molted a few times, or maybe there's a couple of them now. Black snakes are common here, and since I don't hurt them, you know, I'm sure they multiply. But it still scares the crap out of you. So I slowly lifted up the hood and kind of peeked under, and there he was, freaking like a rope, like a big garden hose coiled up right on top of the motor. Just scared the crap out of me. Even when I expect him, he scares the crap out of me. It doesn't ever bother you. He, she, I don't know, but it still scares me. Anyway, I got a bunch of V8 engines. This is set up for that Chevy front and 14 bolt rear. You know, Dana 16 to 14 bolt. And I wasn't happy with the doubler transfer case setup that I had done. It was divorced with a funny jack shaft that I had made. It was really stubby, and it had a lot of operating angle to the joint. And I ended up selling that also. Made good money on it, but I ended up selling that because I wasn't happy with it. And I now have a lot more driveline options. When this motor comes out, this thing will probably end up sitting around waiting to turn into something else, but more than likely it would end up getting a Ford V8. Like right behind the truck there's a 400M with a NP 435 and a 205 sitting on it. And that, I mean, for such a light little truck, I got a lot of 37-inch rubber. That would work out pretty well. I thought about putting Cherokee axles under it, just Dana 30 and Chrysler 8 1/4 or a Explorer rear end or something. And man, people want a fortune for them things now. It used to be I couldn't give them away. I'd take $75 for a Dana 30 front end, and now people want $400 or $500 for them. I've been looking to try to get into one cheap for a Cherokee that's sitting over there for a long time, and it just hasn't happened, which is stunning to me. Outrageously mass-produced vehicle, and suddenly they're worth a bunch of money. What does that tell you?